Hi friends, so today we're going to be working with adding numbers that are in scientific notation. So I'm going to go over the steps with you and then we will solve a couple problems. So step 1, you need to make sure that you're working with the same power of 10s. So make sure the power of 10 are equal. That's step 1. Step 2, add the coefficients. Step 3, make sure answer is in scientific notation. Okay. So here are all of my steps. So I'm going to now do a bunch of examples with you. So here we're doing 2 times 10 squared plus 6 times 10 squared. So step 1 says make sure that the powers of 10 are equal. So this power of 10 is 10 squared, this power of 10 is 10 squared, perfect. Step 1 checked off. Step 2, add the coefficients. So my coefficients here are 2 and 6. So we're going to add them because we're dealing with addition here. So it'd be 2 plus 6, which is 8. So my answer would be 8 times 10 raised to the, you're going to keep the same power of 10 we're working with, which is squared. Now step 3, make sure my answer is in scientific notation. 8. Is 8 greater than 1? Yep. Is 8 less than 10? Yep. So this is my final answer. 8 times 10 squared. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, we will do 6 times 10 raised to the negative 4th power plus 6 times, plus 3 times 10 raised to the negative 4th power. Okay, step 1. Make sure the powers of 10 are equal. So this scientific notation here has a power of 10, so 10 to the negative 4th power. Here we have 10 to the negative 4th power. Perfect. Step 1 is good. Step 2, add the coefficients. So here I have a coefficient of 6. Here I have a coefficient of 3. So we're going to add, because we're working with addition, so it'll be 6 plus 3, and that would give me 9. So my answer would be 9 times, and we're working with the same power of 10, 10 to the negative 4th power. So we have our added coefficients, and we have our power of 10. Now, step 3, make sure my answer is in scientific notation. 9. Is 9 greater than 1? Yeah. Is 9 less than 10? Yep. Perfect. So this would be my answer. 9 times 10 raised to the negative 4th power. Okay, let's do another example. We're going to be working with 4 times 10 raised to the 2nd power plus 9 times 10 raised to the 2nd power. Alrighty, step 1. Make sure the powers of 10 are equal. So here we're working with 10 squared, and in this one we're working with 10 squared. Perfect. We have the same powers of 10. Next, add the coefficients. So I have a coefficient of 4 here, and a coefficient of 9. So over here we're going to do 9 plus 4, and that would give me 13. So my answer would be 13 times, and we're working with powers of 10 that are squared. So 10 squared. Step 3, make sure your answer is in scientific notation. Okay, here's my coefficient. Is my coefficient greater than 1? Yes. Is my coefficient less than 10? No. So my answer is not in scientific notation here. So we must fix my answer. My number here, 13, is too big. We need to make this smaller. So if we need to make this number smaller, this one, my exponent, must get bigger. So you're going to first put the decimal point, which is right here, because it's 13.0 technically. So we need this number smaller and between 1 and 10. So I'm going to move my decimal place over one space, and I get a number that is between 1 and 10. So this is 1.3 times 10. Now, if I'm making my coefficient here, if I move the place value one space over to the left, then my exponent is going to get larger by 1. So this is moved one space, so this is going to increase by 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Or the number that is greater than 2 is 3. So now my answer is in scientific notation. 1.3 times 10 raised to the third power. It is very important for you to make sure that your answer is in scientific notation after you do the addition. Okay, let's do another example. 2 times 10 to the fourth power plus 3 times 10 to the fifth power. Alrighty, so let's go through my steps. Step 1, make sure the powers of 10 are equal. Here we're working with 10 raised to the fourth power. Uh-oh, we have a problem. This scientific notation has 10 raised to the fifth power. Are my powers of 10 equal? No. So we must fix that. How are we going to fix it? Well, we need to convert one of them to have the same exponent as the other. So you can pick which one you want to work with. Here, I'll work with the first one that I see. So we want to convert this answer to have the same power of 10 here. So I want this answer to be 10 raised to the fifth power. So my exponent went up by 1, right? So if my exponent went up by 1, that means my coefficient must go down by 1. So my decimal point is currently right here. So since this increased by 1, that means my coefficient must decrease by 1. So I'm going to make it smaller. So my new coefficient would be 0.2 plus 3 times, we'll leave this one alone. Alrighty, let's go through. Step 1, make sure my coefficients are the same. Make sure my powers of 10 are equal. 10 raised to the fifth power, 10 raised to the fifth power. Beautiful. Step 2, add the coefficients. So this is a coefficient of 0.2, coefficient of 3. So I'm going to do 3 plus 0.2. And if you have a hard time doing this math, you can absolutely use your calculator. So this will become 3.2. So my answer would become 3.2 times 10 raised to the fifth power. Step 3, make sure my answer is in scientific notation. 3.2 times 10, yep. My coefficient here is indeed greater than 1, and it's less than 10. So this is my final answer. 3.2 times 10 raised to the fifth power. We're going to do another example where my powers of 10 are not the same. So here we're going to do 5 times 10 raised to the seventh power plus 1 times 10 raised to the sixth power. Alrighty, so step 1, make sure my powers of 10 are equal. Here we have a power of 10, so 10 raised to the seventh power. Here we have 10 raised to the sixth power. Oh no, they are not equal, they are not the same. So we must convert one, right? I'll work with the first one again. So here we want my power of 10 to be 10 raised to the sixth power. That's what we're going to convert it to. So over here, I'm going to convert it. I'm going to want it to be 10 raised to the sixth power, right? So my original exponent was 7. Now we're going to 6. So we are decreasing by 1. So if we decrease by 1, that means we must increase by 1 decimal place over. So this is currently 5.0, right? But now we want to increase this by 1. We want to make this bigger. So we can do it up here. We have 5.0, and we want to increase it by 1. So we're going to make it bigger. So now we're working with 50. So my coefficient now is 50. Alrighty, let's check to make sure we did this right. So we have 10 raised to the 6th power. Good. Here we have 10 raised to the 6th power. Very good. My powers of 10 are equal. Step 2, add the coefficients. So here we have 50. And here we have 1. So we're going to add them because we're working the addition. So that'll be 50 plus 1. So you get 51. So my answer would be 51 times 10 raised to the 6th power. We're going to keep the same power of 10. Step 3, make sure my answer is in scientific notation. 51. 51, here, that's my coefficient. Yes, 51 is greater than 1, but it is not less than 10. So this number is too big. We need to make it smaller. So if we make this number smaller, we must make my exponent bigger. Alrighty, so my decimal place is currently here. When I'm working with 51, it's really 51.0, right? And I need to make this number smaller. So how about let's move the decimal place over 1 space. And I get 5.1. That is perfect. 5.1 times 10 raised. Okay, so we moved my place value over by 1. So that means we need to increase this by 1. So what is the number bigger than 6? By 1, it's 7. So this is my final answer because my coefficient is greater than 1 and it's less than 10. We're going to do one last example. Alrighty. 4 times 10 squared plus 7 times 10 raised to the 3rd power. Step 1, make sure we have the same powers of 10. So here we have 10 squared. Here, oh no, this is 10 raised to the 3rd power. My powers of 10 are not the same, so we must convert one. I'm just going to work with the first one that I see. So that means that this, I need to convert it so we get 10 raised to the 3rd power. I want it to be the same as this one. So let's look at how we changed. We went from 2 to 3. Therefore, my exponent increased by 1. That means my coefficient must decrease by 1 place value. So we must decrease. We must make this number smaller. So we need to decrease it by 1. So we're going to go in this direction. We go to the left. So this will end up to be, so here's my new decimal point. So this would be 0.4 times 10 to the 3rd power plus 7 times 10 to the 3rd power. All right, let's see if I did this correct. So I have 0.4 times 10 raised to the 3rd power plus 7 times 10 raised to the 3rd power. Are my powers of 10 equal? Yep, we're both working with 10 raised to the 3rd power. Next step, add the coefficients. So I have a coefficient of 0.4 here. I have a coefficient of 7 there. So we're going to add those. We're going to do 7 plus 0.4. And remember, a whole number is really 0.0 in the 10th place. So that would be 4.7. So my answer is I meant 7.4. 7.4 times, and I'm working with 10 raised to the 3rd power. So this became the same. Let's make sure my coefficient is in scientific notation. Is my coefficient greater than 1? Yep. Is my coefficient less than 10? Yep. This is my final answer. 7.4 times 10 raised to the third power. If you find this confusing, I want you to watch the video again. So we're not going to do subtraction right now. We're just dealing with addition. Therefore, you can watch this video again to really solidify the understanding of how we're moving place values and how we're making sure that our powers of 10 are equal. Alrighty. Now, after you watch the videos, complete the practice problems.